What's up, everyone? Well, had some fun problems getting started today. I was going to try and use my laptop on the workbench, but for some reason my laptop's not recognizing the webcam, so that's why I had a little bit of a late start here. So I'm hooked up to my shop computer and I have my laptop on the bench so I can kind of watch the comments and stuff. So hopefully be able to answer comments as we go. I'm going to go real quick and cut some pieces for the drawer sides to length over on the table saw, and then I'll come back here and get laid out and start cutting some dovetails. Oh, right. So I saw in the comments here. Can you guys hear me all right? I think Tom said he couldn't hear me. Is the audio working? Excellent. Thank you, guys. I am using hard maple for the drawer sides, and the drawer fronts are cherry. an interesting angle. Alright. Alright, so I'm getting all my tools out here. Bear with me here as I get all set up. Got my chisels, my marking tools, square, pencil, this guy. I think that's it. Oh, I need this size. Lindsay Pancake's inside. She's taking a nap. Alright. So there's my tools. So I got my saw and my chisels and all that stuff here. So I can start doing my layout. Alright, so I got my drawer front. This will be the left, this will be the right. Just go ahead and label these right and left so I know. I think I still have this set from before. Yep. So I'll make my... I just have to clean up the inside of this drawer front there. Real quick. Alright, so I can lay out my tail, I guess, width or thickness or whatever you want to call this. So now I have my scribe. I don't know how much of this you guys are going to be able to see, but there's my line right there. And then I can make that mark on the drawer sides. Yeah, I didn't really miss anything. I was just doing some more setup stuff that I should have done before starting the session. Alright, so I'm going to roughly lay out my dovetails so I have some kind of marks here, just to give me a ballpark for when I cut them on the bandsaw, so I don't cut one in the wrong direction or something. There's my layout. Now I'm going to go over to the bandsaw and cut these with that little jig thing. I was hoping to be able to do this with my laptop so I could actually take the camera over to the bandsaw, but that's not going to happen, so it's not that exciting anyway. But you can watch me over there. I think. Let's see. Actually, this might be long enough. Better than nothing. All right. There's that jig again. Really, really simple. Just the same angle as my dovetail with that little tiny little hook on the end there. See that? Hopefully you can see this maybe a little bit. Okay. Alright, let me see. Checking questions here. I have not tried them on the table saw yet for the dovetails. I got my bandsaw from Amazon. It's a Rikon, what is it? Something 325. It's the 14-inch deluxe model or something like that. That's about, I think that's all the questions. All right. Now it's time to do a little cleanup. Try to find a good angle for this. How's that? I don't know if I can turn up the volume at all. Okay, is that a little louder now? Probably the hardest part about this is that delay. I'm pretty sure you guys are like at least a minute behind where I am right now, which makes this a little bit difficult. Where's my mouse? So I'm just going to start off here by defining. That's probably loud. Just by defining the scribe line a little bit. And then I can start chopping out some of this waste. Hey Tim, you can send me a GoPro. I'll wear it. I would wear a GoPro on my head, for sure. This is a little. I'm gonna grab my light box. It looks a little dark to me. Should brighten things up a little bit. Yeah, John. Come on over. You could be in this thing live. Probably get here like long before I'm done with one of these. I don't know if I can set. This is just a webcam, so I don't think I can set the autofocus on it. Maybe I can try and not move around too much. This clamp works really just by wedging itself into the hole. So as you hammer it down, it's basically creating a little spring action on it, and that just holds it in place. They're really handy and really quick. It's warmer than it used to be, John. This chisel here is an Ashley Isles pattern chisel. I like these because they're a little shorter and they're good for this finer work. And then you'll see me use this one in a little while. This is the round back chisel, and it's different because it has this kind of round profile to it. You can kind of see that how it's rounded instead of being squared off at the tip. This is an 1/8 inch chisel, and this is a 3/8 chisel here. I got a whole bunch of other ones sitting behind me here that we'll get to as we get into it a little more. Ted, I tried Nick's chisels and they weren't too bad. They're pretty comparable to the Marple chisels I have here. They're pretty much the same thing. I use these too, and you'll see me use this as I do some more chopping here. Yeah, and the cool thing here, guys, is that since I'm kind of doing this real time, you'll be able to see me actually sharpen my chisel as I go once things get a little dull. So I got my strap right there, and I got a little purple paint, if you know what that's from. So here I'm just kind of squaring up this inside corner just to get nice and clean. And clean up a little bit in here. Then I'll do this end over here. there's that one. Now it's time to do the other one. Yeah, I just sanded the paint off. It came right off. That was really funny. I had a great time with Nick here, and it was really weird painting that thing. But it was totally worth it. I know, like Veritas, they have the quick action hold fast, but honestly, for the money, I like these things because they're $35 for the pair, whereas the quick action one is what, like $80 for one of them, and it's really not that big of a deal to just hit the hold fast and release it. My scribe line's a little dull on this end, so I'm going to use my wide chisel to just connect it over here. 2-inch. Seth, if we get some music going, maybe I might. I've been playing that one on repeat for however long it's been now, like a month or whatever. Let's see here. I have a very diverse, or I guess I don't know if it's really diverse, but very weird musical taste, I guess. I really like pop music for whatever reason, and I also like indie rock and weird, like smaller, lesser known stuff like that. But if I'm dovetailing, it's just, whatever music I might have on, or maybe I'll just sit here in silence and just do it, depending on my mood. Maybe I'll listen to a podcast or put on some YouTube video or something. Really depends on the day. Let's see what other questions we got here. I haven't tried the Nerix bench chisels. I only heard good things about them, though. As far as a good starter set goes, they're supposed to be really good. I have the one mortise chisel. This one here, this is 16 millimeter, about 5/8. I like this thing a lot, and if this is any indication of the quality of their other tools, then I'm sure they're good. Yes, real time. I can't hide my mistakes, so I'm going very nice. I'm going very slowly here. No, we actually painted it. That was the real thing. That's the left side we painted. That was the side that was facing the camera in the shop update last night. I wasn't too worried about painting it since it's cherry, so it's more of a closed grain wood, so I don't have to worry about the paint getting in the pores and then not being able to get the paint off. If it was oak or ash or even walnut, then it might be a little more iffy. So I probably wouldn't be able to get all the paint out of those pores. But the cherry just sanded up really nicely, and you can't even tell it was painted. Yeah, sorry about the camera, guys. It's just the webcam. I don't think you can actually switch off the autofocus, so every single time I move around, it's trying to track a new focal point. I listen to... Oh, I can show you. It's my phone. Podcasts. Here's what's in my podcast list. As far as woodworking podcasts go, Wood Talk, Craftsman Road, and Shop Talk Live. Oops. And then some other like entrepreneurial stuff. Oh, and Modern Woodworkers Association. Making It. Gotta listen to Making It. Love those guys. I am 27 years old. I mean, there's plenty of ways to sharpen your stuff, and it really comes down to whatever works best for you. I don't, like I said in my sharpening video, I don't really do a whole lot of like straight up hardcore sharpening because I like to keep my edges as sharp as possible throughout the entire process, so I don't have to go back and do one solid intense sharpening. So really, if you're doing it in the way where you have to go back and sharpen quite a bit, then a machine is probably going to be the best bet for you, especially if you want to get it done quickly. Now I know that machine had that leather stropping option, so I'm sure it's able to get those tools really, really sharp. Oh, I gotta scroll back up. Too many comments. The next project after the secretary will be a baby crib or a cradle for the baby, and then I'm going to do a highboy. Demons at work. Feel free to move here, Scott. Someday, me looking 23 will be a compliment. Hello, fan in Finland. Always amazes me the global reach of these things. That's so cool. All right. This is why I like these chisels a lot. You would not be able to do this with a normal chisel. There's no way you'd be able to get in here. Like, here's a normal one. Boop. That's it. So that's why I really like these round back chisels, because you're able to get into these crazy tight spots. Just because the blade is so thin. Really great chisels. Alright, time to transfer. Need more space. get some more space here. It's hard with all this stuff on the desk, or on the bench here. All right. They're actually aisle chisels. You can get them from toolsforworkingwood.com. Toolsforworkingwood.com. I have the pattern chisels, the round back chisels, which are these ones, which are the ones that I like a lot. And then I also have a couple of their, I think they're the MK2 chisels. That's their standard bench chisels. Yes, the tiny pins are technically weaker, but this is just a drawer. It doesn't need to be that strong, and it's still going to be a lot stronger than, I don't know, some other kind of joinery, I guess. Better shot for you. It's a little better, maybe. So I got my little alignment aid thingy here, and right on there, and all I have to do is get it covering the line. There we go. Get my arm out of the shot. See if those actually show up. I don't know if they will. Now I'm taking my other marking gauge, which is already set to the thickness of the side stock, and then I'll inscribe that on the inside of the drawer. Okay. I just eyeball the size. I like the smaller pins, which are just the space between the tails. So I go for as small as I can get with my bandsaw, and that spacing here is the curve from the blade coming from one direction and then going from the other direction. So that's pretty much as close as I can get my bandsaw to cut. You can get even closer than this if you were to do it by hand with the handsaw. But I think I like the spacing quite a lot. now I'm going to transfer the edges of my tails down to this face, so I have a square line on this side for chiseling, as well as for when I'm removing the waste on the drill press. Yes, it makes things more harder or more difficult, but I like the look better. Four pancakes doggy bed. All full of sawdust from the molding routing yesterday. I was gonna change my bit, but we'll see how this goes. Sitting on is, sorry, the camera's over here. Yes, the stool I was sitting on is a step stool, because this is what happened to my actual shop stool when Nick was here. It's seen better days. So until I make a new stool or get a new stool for the shop, I'm going to be using my step stool as a stool. What's up, Brian? Let's see. It's kind of washed out now, huh? Oh! I only drilled one side. Oh, this is what I get. Alright, right back. I didn't know they had non-pointed Forstner bits. If that's really true, send me a link to whatever that is. I'll take a look at those. That'd be really nice. Let's see here. I'm out of space again. Too much stuff. I'm going to put you a little higher. Oh. Webcam. gonna try and get my tripod set up so I can actually put you guys in a better position to see this next part. A little far away, huh? Get you a little closer. Alright, let me know how that is. It's very awkward for me. But hopefully you can probably see a little better of what's going on here. This is incredibly awkward. This camera's right in my face. I'm using a webcam. So these Microsoft Life Cam things. Right now, during for the actual videos, I have a Sony Handycam CX160, and then I also use my Canon 7D for video as well. I shot the whole dovetailing video with the 7D. Living on the edge. That's a good question, actually. My drawer fronts are just under a 1/2 inch, and the part I'm leaving back here is 1/8. So just a little under 1/4. Yes, I've broken off the front before. That's very easy to do if the grain direction is going this way. Because as you're coming down here, the chisel will just come and go right through the front and totally break that off. How many dovetails have I done? I don't know, a few hundred. I have no idea. Probably at least 4, if not way more than that. There we go. There's one. I have not touched them up yet. It's probably time, actually. This one's starting to drag a little bit. But I saw a question earlier about the, I guess, the durability of the steel, and if I notice a difference. And yes, I do. These chisels from Ashley Isles, they hold an edge a lot longer than my cheaper ones, my marbles. So I don't have to move the camera. What do I do? Stay. There. That's it. And we're back to it. Yeah, pretty quick. And this thing is noticeably sharper. I can actually tell the difference. I can feel the difference as I'm using it on the wood here. It's not dragging through the fibers at all. Alright, let's finish this thing up. Hey, Sterling. This grain back here is a little tricky. As I'm chopping down here, I'm going very much against the grain. So I'm switching to a narrower chisel, so I have a little more control here. And now I'm just going to finalize this back wall. And because that grain is going pretty crazy, I'm not going to go very far with that chisel. I'm going to come back with the smaller chisels and clean this up. Careful with the hair. My wife doesn't love me unless I have my hair this length. Or so she tells me. I'm just sliding down from above so I can just make sure that I don't have any anything that's going to get in the way of the joint coming together. Which one's this? Left. Oh, look at that. I'm just going to fit in the first try. I like when that happens. Alright, I'm going to move you guys around again. Just sit here for a minute. Alright, well, I got set up here for the next thing. If anyone has any questions, I wasn't paying too close attention to the chat there. Just trying to get them all done. But if anyone has any questions that I missed, just put them in again, and I will look at them, or I'll see them and I'll answer them. I am going to go ahead and cut these drawer size to length real quick, and we're just going to mark them off of my other drawer that I made here. It's a little snug. Alright, so I'm going to go cut these real quick, just so you know you're like seriously 2 or 3 minutes behind real time. So yeah, I'm going to go cut these to length, and then I'll be right back. And I'm also going to make a drawer bottom, or drawer back. So this is the drawer back. I'm just going to eyeball this layout. So that's what I do. I already took off one of my sweaters, Kyle. Running out of layers. I think the dovetail markers are like $25 or something around there. Hardwood is best for beginners. Whatever you can get for the cheapest. Or whatever you like the looks of best, I guess. This here is hard maple. I like it for dovetailing because it's harder than the cherry I'm using for the drawer fronts. So it does compress the cherry a little bit, which kind of gives you a little bit of an easier joint for it to go together. That's kind of the same reason you would use pine for the drawer sides, I guess. The same kind of reason. Let's see here. I have my blade set to the left, if you can see that, so it cuts this way. It's on the pull stroke. Higher, maybe. I got started in dovetails because I wanted to try it. That's a really boring answer, I'm sorry, but that's kind of how it was. It was I was fascinated by the joint, and I thought I would try it. And I did, and I kept doing it, I guess. And then to learn how to do it, I just kind of practiced, I guess. I went online, found some of the videos back then. That was in 2010. So there are a few videos out there about making dovetails, nowhere near the quality that's out there today. So I watched those videos just to kind of get an idea of the general process. And then I just started doing it. Kept practicing at it. Kind of went from there. The dovetail saw over the gent saw. I have a gent saw, that's what I started with. And you don't, well, I guess for the money it's not that great of a saw. It would need a lot of tune-up out of the box, and that's not something that I really knew how to do back then when I had it, or rather that it was supposed to be done. I just figured, oh, I bought a tool, it should work right out of the box, but it does technically work, but it is terrible experience. The filing isn't very good on them. They don't cut very well or very quickly, and I don't like that style of grip. It really puts a lot of strain on your wrist and your hand. I much prefer that pistol grip style that I have now. Obviously the one I have now is extremely expensive, but as far as performance goes, I think if you were looking at the best bang for your buck, I've Dima has that Veritas dovetail saw, and I think for the money that one cuts just about as good as the one that I have. The chisel that this one here is a 1/4 inch chisel, and then the chisel I was using to do the half blinds was this one, which is 3/8. I use the 3/8, a 1/4, and an 1/8 the most. A vice for dovetails would be anything that you're able to really secure your work really well. I used to have one of those metal face vices, and that worked fine too. I did a lot of dovetails on that. So anything really that's going to be able to clamp your work really well is going to be a great vice for dovetails. And don't forget, with the work holding with dovetails, you kind of have two different layouts or whatever, of two different orientations of how you want to clamp your work. You have this one I'm doing right now, where you want to be able to clamp it down flat to a bench, and then you have, like when you're sawing, you want it to be clamped vertically in the bench. So as long as you have ways of doing both of those, you should be good. Dovetail saws, as far as costs go, depends on the brand and the make. The Veritas one I think is like $80 or something, somewhere around there. It's under $100. Lee Nielsen is going to be, I think they're $110 or $120. And the one I have is the Bad Axe saw. The base model for that is $225, I think, somewhere around there. No, I still haven't finished that complicated joint yet. I haven't touched it since I made that shop update. I need to get out here and finish that at some point. It's still at the same point it was when I showed it. Oh, there you go. $60 to the Veritas saw. I think by far that's your best bang for the buck. Okay. I'm gonna put my drawer sides. Lovely. Alright, who saw where I put my drawer sides? I lost them. Did someone come in and take them? No. Found them. Right. I lose everything. Alright. Some pins transferred here to the tails. I get this in the right direction here. Pencils, tape measures, they're all running away, always. Even though I have a whole bunch of pencils in the shop, I can never seem to find any. Oh man. Wow, you guys are really far behind. Wow. These are cut at a 1:8 ratio, which is somewhere around 7¼ or so degrees. Wow. I'm the one who's behind.
Let's see. Is this one? Nope. This one. Done. Oh, that one's done. Next. Dovetail. Alright, I'll do the other one. Yeah, you can use any leather. You can even use a piece of plywood. You just need a little bit of that honing compound. I should tell my wife to bring me pizza too. I think it's a good night for pizza. Alright, I'm going to try and not knock you over again. We'll see how that goes. The dovetail saw, Tommy, I think it's 14. I have to check. It's the default tooth pattern that Bad Axe has. I think it's 14 though. Oh, I'm looking forward to your first dovetails then. That's going to be awesome. How timely. Yeah, I don't know if I want a wooden pizza right now. It doesn't sound very appetizing. I prefer a real one. And cut Coronas. Oh. Oh, you guys are great. that side. There's the other one. So, let's see. I'm in camera. I can't see. So that's a dovetail joint, or 4 of them. Now, if I was smart and I had prepared for this, I would have had a drawer bottom, the stock for the drawer bottom, ready, milled up and ready to go, so I could show you how to make one of those as well. But I don't. So that's about it. If anyone has any questions, I can stick around for a little bit and answer questions if you want. Otherwise, I guess we're all done. And this lag is incredible. I wish it was pizza time. Baby is due mid-July. Really looking forward to that. I think the Nerix ones are probably the best ones as far as decent quality for getting started. At least that's from what I hear. There's a lot of people have really good things to say about them. The bevel edge ones, that way you actually you're able to get into the corners or the edges of the dovetails. That basically just means that the edges of the chisel are ground away. See, these ones have flat spots along the edges, and you really don't want those because they're going to get in the way if you're trying to get in between 2 tails. This flat area is going to get in the way on you. That's why I like these Ashley Isles ones, because, well, you can make these like this, but they come out of the box, so to speak, with no flat on the side. The edges meets the back directly instead of having a flat spot. Now, if you do get these kind of chisels with the flats on the edges, you can grind them off. These ones I have up here, that's exactly what happened to these ones. There were a little bit too much of a flat on them, so you can see that they are ground back to remove that flat edge along the side there. So that helps a lot. It would be a lot faster. A lot faster. I know this took a lot longer than I thought it was going to, and most of it was just because I was trying to pay attention to the chat, as well as try and make sure that I'm showing it all right and taking my time so I don't really screw it up, because that'd be really, really funny if I screwed this up live. But this was 2.5 hours. This is probably half the time or half the speed of my normal process. Usually this will be a little over an hour, between an hour and a half, somewhere in there. Old hand planes. This one here is an old one. Almost all of my hand planes are old hand planes. All my bench ones are. Any of the ones that are really nicely made, that were premium tools back in the day. So that would be like for the Stanley line, the Bailey line. Those were usually pretty much premium. So if you can find one of those ones that are a premium level plane, that they were once premium, and all they need is a little bit of restoring, it's a great way to go with this. And I added the upgraded blade. That helped a lot. I can't say enough about this going like this route. I mean, you can spend a lot of money on a hand plane if you want, and that's fine. But for my purposes at this point in my life, this has served me really well. I don't have any like vintage chisels or saws or anything, so I can't really speak to that, unfortunately. I probably won't put out as many videos once the baby comes, but I hope to still be putting out at least the shop update and some other video during every week, so 2 videos a week instead of the 3 or so videos, or sometimes 5 videos I'm doing right now. I'm not using pine, I'm using hard maple for the sides and back. Yeah, this is about as real as it gets. I've been woodworking for about 6 years, about six and change. All my chisels are at the same angle. Actually, they're all I'm not even sure what angle they are. Except for my mortise chisel, I think that one's at like 45 or close to that. Maybe not. Maybe this is like 30 or something. Yeah, I just sharpen them with whatever. They're all the same. I think they're about 25 degrees. I used cherry for the drawer front and hard maple for the sides and back. Half blind or through dovetails, which one's stronger? I'm sure it's negligible, to be honest. I'm guessing the through dovetails will be stronger because you have more glue surface. If the wood is the same, if you're comparing a half blind and a through dovetail joint of the same thickness boards, presumably the through dovetail will be stronger because there's just more glue surface and there's more mating material there. Best table saw? I don't know. I've only had one. Just that rigid saw that I have. It seems to work fine for me. I'm sure a lot of other people have different opinions if they have more than one table saw, but I just have that one. That's the only thing I can speak of. How big a gaps do I leave for expansion? Is that a Jay Bates reference? Because when he did his, he said that was the gaps are there for expansion and contraction. Or unless you're talking about the drawer bottom, in which case you don't. The way this is set up, the grain will expand and contract in this direction, out the back. It's so funny watching myself with such a delay. It is my hobby right now. Five tools? I don't know. You can get a lot of stuff done with a router if you really want to. The thing about like limiting yourself to that or doing those kind of questions is there's ways to get things done. They just take longer. There's more effort involved. So you can get a lot of things done with just a router, and that's really the primary tool I had when I first started. I'd use my router for just about everything, every single piece of joinery. But obviously, if you want to get into some more complicated things, I mean, you could, in theory, you could make a dovetail joint like this with a router and no jig, if you have that great of control over the router to actually route out the waste here. And I use a router on the bigger dovetail joints to get rid of a lot of the waste, and if you're really so inclined, you could use a router to do this without a jig, if you really wanted to. There's also more of a risk of screwing it up too. I bought all my hand planes on eBay. Matthew and I got together. We just kind of reached out, or Matthew reached out to me, and we've actually been speaking for a few months. But he reached out to me and asked me if there was anything that we could possibly collaborate on, and we kind of settled on that show idea. And I'm looking forward to see how well or how that does, because it was a really fun thing to shoot. Once we kind of figured out all of the little like intricacies of trying to do that show, because that show is not recorded through the internet video stream, so we have the actual cameras in the shop recording ourselves while we're talking to each other on the webcams. But we didn't have an extension for our headphones, so instead of standing really close to the camera, we wanted to stand far away. So we're actually on the phone with each other, so we could hear each other, and we had the computers on so we could see each other, and we had the cameras going so we could record it. And then I edited it all together, but it was a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing where that goes. It's gonna be fun. I haven't done anything with the radius plane yet. I still have to finish restoring it a little bit and sharpening the blade. I think maybe I'll do that. I have a couple of scraps actually now from when I cut the scrap off the gooseneck molding, so maybe I'll give that a try and see how it goes. So I have a few pieces that got a nice arch in them, so I can try it and see how it goes. I'm really excited to tune that thing up and give it a try, because it's been one of those things I've always wanted to try, and it looks so cool when I see people using it, so it should be a lot of fun. Glad to help, Dominic. Kevin, usually when I'm milling, I try to cut through the pith if I can. If the pith is straight enough and I can get my cut aligned so that the kerf actually goes through the pith. Otherwise, it's gonna split right down that pith line. So depending on what I want to use the wood for, I might just leave it in there and let it split. So for instance, if I'm using it for like table legs or something, I'm not going to need a whole wide board. I'm going to end up cutting it into square stock anyway. I'll just leave that pith in there, and then I'll just cut around it when it comes time to actually make legs out of it. That seems to work fine for me. Or you could cut the pith out too while you're milling the lumber as well, but I don't know. Laziness, I guess. One less thing to do. The paint job didn't hold up too well to my sander. It came right off. George, I was laid off in December, so I'm currently unemployed. If you go, there's a few websites where they have like a whole catalog of hand planes, and you can actually go there and you can look up exactly what plane you have and like when it was made and all that. I don't recall the website off the top of my head, but if you just search for like hand plane catalog or library or something like that, you can actually go there and they have pretty much every single plane ever made, and then you can kind of figure out like when it was manufactured based on the patent date, if there's one on there, or the style, and they can tell you if it was a good plane to begin with or all that fun stuff. I have considered it. Full-time woodworking, I've considered it. At this point, it'd be a very big undertaking to establish myself as a business, as a brand that would be able to sell things that I make, to have a comparable income to what I was doing before. But I have given thought to doing this thing here full-time. That's probably a more feasible route for me. Do I treat the end grain when drying lumber? Yes, I have. That's over there, but I got a product called Anchor Seal. It's a green wood waxy type sealer. It works really well for sealing stuff up. I use it on the lumber I cut as well as the bowl blanks that I process. And that works really, really well. Yeah, the number 4 is the one I like. I use the most. I got this one pre-restored, or it was restored by the seller, and he did an amazing job restoring this one. It's really well done. You can put a lot of work into these things if you want to get them restored perfectly. For instance, on this one, the guy who restored it, he left the, I guess it's the standing lines in the side of the plane. You can see that, but the side of the plane is not perfectly smooth, but it is flat. So you can polish it as much as you want, but I don't really mind the look of the scratches there on the side. You can kind of see that. I don't use any hair products, Rich. I just wake up in the morning and rub my hand through my hair and go on about my day. I don't use any beard products either. I probably should. I just have a trimmer, and that's about it. And the beard will probably come off in a couple months. Usually it comes off sometime in April. The drawer bottoms are usually, I'll probably make them on the other one. Where's the other drawer? I made the stock for this drawer bottom. This is 3/8 of an inch thick. And then the grooves themselves are 1/4 inch. Like, they're 1/4 inch wide by 1/4 inch deep. And then I just hand plane a bevel. Where's the camera? There it is. Then I just hand plane a bevel. You can kind of see that. I bevel it with a hand plane to make it fit in that groove. Yep, I haven't been on Wood Talk Online as much as I used to be. I used to be on there a lot, like all the time, every day. Lumberjacks, I stop in occasionally and see what's going on over there as well. Reddit, I'm on Reddit like every day. The woodworking sub forum there, the subreddit there. That's a good one. If anyone's not over there, hasn't checked that out yet, there's always a pretty good discussion of things going on over there. There's a lot of people over there. The size of my shop, it is 20 by 21 feet. You don't need to put hair products in a mop, that's right. I think we decided on a style for it. It's going to be the style I described on Brain Pick. We're not going to do anymore. We went what is it? It was like that curvy thing before that I was talking about on Brain Pick, and now we're leaning towards a style with like I don't know how to describe it now. It's still spindles. Well, all clips are spindles, but the stretcher along the bottom has carvings on it, or not carvings, shaped so that it's kind of got little balls, and then transitions into the spindle itself. Maybe I'll post a picture of it. It's on my wife's Pinterest. Maybe I'll post a picture of that. It's hard to describe. I learned to use a chainsaw. Well, I grew up watching my dad use one. When I was younger, we had a lot of land and we cut firewood, so I never used a chainsaw myself, but I watched him use it a lot. A lot of my childhood was watching him use that chainsaw, and that's the one that's over there. If you see it in my videos, it's to the left of my jointer on that shelf. That was my dad's chainsaw. He gave that to me. But as far as learning how to do it, I cut down my first tree out in the woods with Jim, like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago or so, and then it was just really just being out there and just trying it and practicing. The nice thing about dropping trees in the woods is you don't have to really worry about where they're falling or what they're going to fall on. I don't have to worry about dropping a tree on a house, so it's a nice place to learn that kind of stuff. I would recommend a computer for the shop because it's so nice to have one out here, just to be able to play music or answer comments or be on the forums or whatever. It's nice. Any computer really, because you're not, at least for me, I'm not editing out here. I don't do anything really computer intensive. It's all like web stuff and that doesn't really take a whole lot of power. So this computer here is one that I built a long time ago. It used to be my home theater PC. Oh, years and years ago, probably 5 years ago. And now it's out here, so nothing too crazy as far as shop computers go. I have a Bosch 1617 EVS. I'm going to build most of the baby furniture. The crib and a cradle and possibly a changing table. Or, yeah, dresser changing table kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, it's a little dusty, but I mean, if you had the computer in your house and you didn't open it up for like 4 years, that thing's gonna be pretty gross too. So I just every few months I open up the garage doors, I open up the windows, I open up the entry door, and I take my leaf blower through here and I blow out all the dust off of everything, including I hit the computer with the air compressor and maybe the leaf blower a little bit, and that gets a lot of the dust out of there and just kind of cleans it up. But I haven't had any problems with it being like overheating or anything because it's dusty, or any of the fans going out or anything, surprisingly. We don't know if it's a boy or a girl, and we're not going to know until July when it's born. A rocking crib. That'd be interesting too. I know we're looking at doing a cradle with rockers as well, so maybe. I'll have to see what the wife thinks about that. That's a good idea, though. Yes, as long as the tree doesn't fall on you. That's the... Thank you, George. Yes, you have to worry about where you're dropping it if you're going to drop it on yourself, and hopefully anyone that's out there with you is out of the way. But so a lot of that experience is obviously having a good exit strategy, thinking about what you're doing when you're out there. And I talked about it briefly, or a little bit on BrainPick, about cutting down a tree and having that thought process of all the things that could possibly happen and the physics involved of that tree coming down. So being able to assess the situation is definitely a skill that takes time to acquire. And I'm not saying I'm an expert at it, but just do it a few times and you have a really good idea of which way a tree is going to want to go. And you can really adjust your cut to send it where you want it, and you can have it, if it's leaning way over in one direction, it's going to be really hard to get it to go in another direction. But if it has a big limb on one side, there are ways you can make that cut to have it go a little bit in a different direction just to adjust the fall of the tree. YouTube woodworkers that inspired me to start posting videos. So I've wanted to do videos for like 4 years. Since I first started woodworking, I had always wanted to do videos, and back then it was really just Mark Spagnolo and Matt Vanderlist. That was before 2010, and I guess they kind of inspired me to want to do it. But I've always wanted to do it. I've tried before, as you can see. I had those shots of me when I was younger because I was trying to make videos back then, but they were just so bad that I couldn't do anything with them, or I didn't want to post them, or whatever. But this year I just decided that, or it was last year now, I just decided that if I wasn't going to start and practice, it was never going to happen anyway. So I just started doing it, and I got a little better as time went, and I'm still getting better too. So, yeah. I don't have any experience with the lead dovetail jig. I do have the Porta Cable Omni jig, the 24-inch one. I have that, and I used to use that. I got that. Actually, I started by hand-cutting dovetails, and then I got the jig, and then I went back into hand-cutting dovetails. The jig works fine, and it does great work. It does work well, but I like the look of the really fine pins, and you can't do that on a router because they're too close together. I don't know if I really set any goals. I'm not really a goal setter. The way I approach it is that I'm going to, my goal, I guess, let me rephrase that. My goal is not a big, like, here's where I want to be in a year. My goal is to produce really good content and enjoy doing it. So as long as I'm doing that, I'm happy. And I think that the channel as a whole will continue to grow just because I'm producing those good quality videos or things that people want to watch. So that's kind of how I approach that. Yeah, I'll do more of these in the future if it's not. Hopefully, they weren't too boring for anybody. I know it's kind of. Hopefully, it's like one of these things you can kind of put on in the background. You can check in as time goes. So I'll probably do them again. I think whenever I finish up the gooseneck molding behind me, I'll probably do a broadcast about that as well, because that was kind of fun just to have it on, and anybody who wants to come and watch, they can come watch. They can come and go. It's not gonna hurt my feelings if you only stop for like a minute. But yeah, this is fun. I really enjoy this. It's great. Ooh, it's great to be able to do this. Isn't the internet an amazing thing? Alright, well, I think that's probably good for now. Oh, my next video is air drying your lumber. I have not been to England. I would love to visit, though. That'd be kind of fun. I haven't been outside of the hemisphere, I suppose, technically. But yeah, I think that's about it for today. I'm going to go take my dog for a walk before it gets too dark here. And yeah, so thanks everyone for stopping by. And yeah, I'll do more of these in the future. It's been fun. So thank you. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave a comment or send me an email or whatever. I always appreciate those. I'm in Minnesota, just outside Minneapolis. All right, guys, have a great night. Enjoy yourself. Hopefully you can get out in the shop and get something done. And I'll talk to you all later. How do I stop this thing?